Hey, welcome everybody out to baloneybrain.com for another episode of Weird Wednesday. I'm your host, John House, and I'm not at the old crowbar today. I'm kind of playing hooky, but I'm here with my co-host, Daryl House, or Suburban Hobo. How you doing, Daryl?
I'm doing a great job. By the way, I want to compliment you on that nice new logo for the old crow. Looks
Thanks.
good.
Thanks.
Yeah, I
The
like
guy
that.
did a great job on it.
You sure did. Well, listen, I'm down here in Florida, and we've had this laugh for a few months now about Florida being such a source of material for our Weird Wednesday. And I'm getting to the point where, as much as I want to avoid it, it just slaps me in the face every time I look. Today in the newspaper, actually Sunday, they have a whole section on they call Florida. So this came from about, remember last week we had a guy who had the poopy pants problem?
Yes.
Well, we have another one of those where the guy, oh God, where did I've lost my story here. Oh, here it is. A Florida man pooped his pants while he was getting arrested for drinking and shooting guns. His name's Michael Johnson. He and another guy were confronted up in Vero Beach. That's up, south central Florida. After police received a report that shots were being fired. When they found the two men, the guys put their weapons in the trunk of their car, but they later gave the officers permission to search the car, where they found a .40 caliber Glock pistol and a .45 caliber black powder handgun. Johnson, admitting shooting the gun and drinking, told the officers he was impaired. He admitted to having 8 drinks, including 2 cans of Colt 45, and while speaking to the officers, he was swaying, and then he defecated in his pants.
Well, at least it wasn't Ralph from the conspiracy porch that got in trouble.
Ralph's got his issues with guns, but at least he keeps his poop in his pants.
Well, this past week was 420, and so all the 420 parties, police at the University of California, Santa Cruz interrupted a 420 party and took a 2-foot joint, or I'm sorry, a 2-pound joint from, they confiscated it. This thing, I've got a picture, pretty large joint.
I'm sure that's what she said.
Well, the thing is now it's not that big a deal. In California, it has about the same penalty as having a beer in a paper bag on the streets of Greenwich Village.
And with this 420 thing, I saw Snoop Dogg was having a party up in Beverly Hills or wherever it was, and neighbors complained because the cars parking where they shouldn't be parking and the noise is up. The cops came and said, "Snoop, can you keep it down?" He said, "Yeah, they didn't bust anybody or anything. It's just kind of, be calm." They didn't ask for smoke or anything that I know of, but yeah, that's a great story. I love that.
Nice.
420.
What do you have?
Well, you know what? I was talking as we were setting this up earlier about the who cares category, and I wasn't sure to include this or not, but some things end up in the news, and I go like, who cares? And we all kind of celebrity watch, and we're probably all embarrassed by it. It's kind of like when you watch a train wreck, and you don't really want to look, but you can't hardly keep your eyes away from. This morning, Chaz Bono. Chaz Bono, you talk about a superstar. There's a story on MSN.com that he lost 60 pounds. Now, if he wasn't Sonny and Cher's daughter-son thing, it wouldn't be known for anything at all to begin with. But I had to watch it. I had to watch this thing. So he talks about, well, I gave up dieting. His diets don't work. So what he's done is he's just grazing in a different direction. He's changed his diet and he's taken up martial arts. So I thought that was just crazy. I couldn't believe it. And when you read about these who I love this week is Reese Witherspoon. I always thought she was just cutest little girl next door, and now I find out she's a drunk like the rest of us. I love her.
Well, yeah, I heard she got in some trouble. Speaking of trouble, Scott, I can't pronounce his last name, but he's a Georgia police officer, and he's in some trouble for felony aggravated assault. this seemed like a perfect follow-up story for the 420 because I've sometimes felt like this. He was on the drive-through line at McDonald's, and it was moving too slow, so he went to the front of the line and drew a gun on the person that was holding up the line. So
It's totally fair.
he didn't identify himself as a police officer. Basically, just started yelling at the car and stuck a gun in the guy's neck. And so, yeah, he's in some big trouble now.
Well, here, I love this story. This lady down here, I think says she was 79 years old, and her pastor was helping her with her driver's test to get ready to take the test again. But it sounded like she didn't really listen because she was getting some helpful tips from her pastor before taking the test. And when she got in, she confused the pedals of the car, and she drove straight into the front doors of a Target up in Ocala.
Whoops.
I believe that's Target.
Absolutely.
Crazy stuff going on everywhere you look.
Well, last week the ricin poison scare, the guy that was arrested ended up to be an Elvis impersonator.
I saw that.
And now an Elvis impersonator was in a standoff with police in Des Moines, Iowa that lasted more than 30 hours. He allegedly called authorities asking for assistance, and the police came, and he ended up with a gun firing at officers. The officers fired back. He was in a 6-hour standoff before they I guess they I'm guessing they probably shot him with the taser, but they subdued him with a stun gun, it says. And so he was taken to a hospital for minor injuries before being booked on weapons charges.
So there's no truth that he was trying to introduce a new cereal, Rice and Krispies.
Hey, man, somebody bring me a peanut butter banana sandwich and my gun.
You know, we used to talk about snap, crackle, and pop, and now we're talking about our joints, our knees and ankles. Well, listen, John, this has been another great episode of Weird Wednesday. So glad to meet up with you every week and do this and have a few laughs. Folks, thanks for joining us on Baloney Brain. John, have a good week. Talk to you later.
See ya.